Family prayer changes everything. Here's how to start today. The modern family's routine is marked by haste and endless commitments. Work consumes the parents, school demands so much from the children, and quality time together becomes rare. Each person lives at their own pace, too busy to notice how their family connection is slowly wearing thin. Meals are no longer moments of conversation, and the home, once filled with laughter and shared stories, becomes just a place to pass through. Over time, family bonds weaken, and the emotional distance between loved ones grows unnoticed. External challenges don't make things any easier. Financial struggles, worries about the future, and social pressures add even more weight to daily life. Small disagreements turn into heated arguments, and differing opinions create separation. The love is still there, but the lack of dialogue and understanding makes relationships tense. Amidst it all, the harmony of the home is gradually replaced by exhaustion, frustration, and the simple desire to get through another day. With such a fast-paced routine, spiritual life is often left behind. Prayer, which should be the foundation to strengthen and guide the family, becomes nothing more than a distant concept. Some try to keep their faith alive, but lack of time and overwhelming fatigue make it difficult to prioritize seeking God. As a result, problems pile up at home without a solid foundation to face them with hope and wisdom. The absence of prayer not only distances the family from God, but also weakens the bonds between its members. Without a moment of communion with the Father, worries feel heavier, challenges seem greater, and relationships grow more fragile. Children grow up without learning to trust in God, and parents carry the weight of responsibility without realizing they could be sharing it with the Lord. The consequences of this spiritual disconnection appear gradually. Discouragement takes over. Decisions are made without direction, and the family feels like they're constantly struggling alone. Many times, the lack of prayer makes even the smallest difficulties seem impossible to overcome. However, the solution may be closer than they realize, but they just haven't seen it yet. As the days pass, the exhausting routine continues, and the challenges remain unanswered. Each heart longs for something that brings peace and unity, but no one knows exactly where to start. There is a sense that something is missing, that there is an emptiness within the home that needs to be filled. But is there a way to change this reality and transform the family environment? This family hasn't realized it yet, but there is a powerful key that can restore everything that seems lost. A simple practice, yet one that has the power to unite hearts, strengthen bonds, and bring new meaning to everyday life. What would happen if, instead of facing everything alone, they decided to turn to God together? The answer to that question will begin to unfold in the next step of this journey. In the midst of the daily rush and challenges, many families fail to realize that they have a powerful resource within reach: prayer. Instead of seeking God in their difficult moments, they try to handle everything on their own, believing they must face their struggles alone. Prayer, which could be their source of strength and direction, ends up being neglected. Some may pray individually, but few understand the impact of a family that prays together. God desires to be present in the home, strengthening each family member and bringing unity among them. When prayer becomes part of the routine, something extraordinary happens. Hearts draw closer, problems are faced with greater hope, and the atmosphere at home is transformed. This doesn't mean challenges disappear, but the way they are handled changes completely. The family learns to rely more on God and less on their own strength. There are countless testimonies of families who experienced profound changes when they decided to seek God together. Homes once filled with conflict and distance were restored. Parents who felt overwhelmed found peace by sharing their burdens with God. Children who didn't understand the importance of faith began to feel more secure as they watched their parents trust in the Lord. Prayer didn't just change their circumstances, it strengthened their relationships. One father once admitted that he had never considered praying with his family. To him, prayer was something personal, something each person should do on their own. But when his wife suggested they pray together, something unexpected happened. For the first time, he felt that his family was truly united in a greater purpose. The worries that once seemed overwhelming began to lose their power in the face of shared faith. Another testimony comes from a mother who struggled to keep peace in her home. Her children constantly fought, and tension filled the air. Exhausted, she decided to gather her family every night for a moment of prayer. At first, there was resistance, but over time something changed. The arguments lessened and the home became a more peaceful place. God was working in each of their hearts even when they didn't realize it. Family prayer is not just a religious practice. It is an invitation for God to be an active part of the home. When family members come together to pray, they are acknowledging their dependence on God and allowing Him to lead them. Fear and anxiety begin to be replaced by trust and peace. Small miracles start to happen, not necessarily outwardly, but within the hearts of each person. But then the question arises, how do we begin? Many families want to include prayer in their daily lives but don't know where to start or worry that it will be difficult to maintain. Some fear it will feel forced or that no one will be interested. However, the first step may be simpler than they think. In the next part of this journey, we will explore practical ways to bring prayer into the home and experience this transformation. Making the decision to pray as a family may seem simple, but it often requires a step of faith. It's easy to put it off, waiting for the perfect moment, or believing that one day, everyone will be ready. But the truth is, that perfect moment may never come. If family prayer is so powerful, why delay? Why? The first step needs to be taken by someone willing to trust God and start this journey, even if it's new for everyone. Many people think that only parents should take the initiative, but the truth is that any family member can begin. A child can suggest a prayer time at night. A mother can call everyone together before a meal to give thanks. A father can encourage the household to start the day by seeking God together. It doesn't matter who takes the first step. What matters is making the decision and inviting others to join in. Still, some barriers may arise. The fear of praying out loud can be an obstacle for many. Some families have never had this habit and might feel uncomfortable at first. Others may think they don't know how to pray the right way. But God is not concerned with fancy words or well-crafted speeches. He cares about a sincere heart. The most important thing is to start, even if it's with a simple and short prayer. There may also be resistance. Some family members might see it as unnecessary or feel like they don't have time for it. Others may be used to handling everything on their own and don't see the need to seek God together. But this resistance shouldn't be a reason to give up. With patience and love, it's possible to show that prayer is not an obligation, but a privilege that can transform family life. A great way to begin is by choosing a time that feels natural for everyone. It could be before bed, before meals, or even at a specific moment in the day when the family is already together. The goal is to make prayer a habit, and for that to happen, it needs to fit into the family's routine. The more consistent this prayer time is, the more natural it will become for everyone. Another important tip is not to impose prayer as a strict rule. When the family sees this time as something special and meaningful, rather than an obligation, everyone will feel more comfortable participating. The key is to start with something simple and accessible, allowing prayer to gradually become an essential part of the home. But taking the first step is only the beginning. The real challenge is keeping this habit alive, making prayer a natural part of everyday life. How can we turn prayer into a meaningful and engaging time for the whole family? In the next step, we'll explore how to make this moment special and filled with significance. After deciding to start praying as a family, the next step is to create a special moment for it. Choosing the right time makes all the difference in making prayer a natural part of the household routine. It could be before bedtime, early in the yachiu, morning, or at a time when everyone is gathered. The most important thing is that this moment is not treated as an obligation, but as a valuable time to connect with God and with family. The environment also plays a significant role. Prayer can take place at the dinner table, in the children's room, or in the living room, wherever everyone feels comfortable. Some families prefer a more intimate setting, while others enjoy making prayer a time of fellowship with worship and sharing God's Word. Regardless of the format, the goal is to create a space where everyone feels free to talk to God. To make family prayer a lasting habit, it's important to make it accessible to all members, from the oldest to the youngest. Children can participate with short and simple prayers, while adults can share requests and expressions of gratitude. There is no strict rule about how each person should pray. What matters is that everyone has the opportunity to express their faith and seek God together. One way to keep this moment engaging is to vary how it happens. Some days the family can read a Bible verse before praying. Other days they might sing a worship song or simply share something they are grateful for. This variety helps maintain interest and motivates everyone to participate. The key is to ensure that prayer never becomes monotonous or mechanical. Many parents worry about their children's participation, especially if they are still young. But it's essential to remember that prayer doesn't have to be perfect. If a child prays in a simple or even humorous way, it doesn't make their prayer any less valuable to God. On the contrary, it teaches them from an early age that talking to God is natural and accessible to everyone. Moreover, involving all family members strengthens the bonds between them. When each person has the opportunity to share their requests, fears, and gratitude, an atmosphere of trust and love is created. Prayer becomes a refuge in the midst of life's challenges, where each family member can find support and strength to move forward. However, for prayer to truly transform the home, it takes more than just setting a time and creating the right atmosphere. How can this habit stay alive in daily life? How can families overcome challenges like distractions, discouragement, and the busyness of life? In the next step, we'll explore strategies to make prayer a strong and essential foundation within the family. Introducing family prayer is not always easy, especially when some members show little interest or even resist the idea. This can happen for various reasons: lack of habit, skepticism, or simply exhaustion from a busy routine. It's normal for not everyone to be excited about participating at first, but that doesn't mean the effort is in vain. Patience and consistency are key in this process. One of the most effective ways to overcome resistance is by leading by example. When someone in the family decides to pray regularly, even without everyone's participation, it begins to impact the atmosphere of the home. Often, actions speak louder than words. Simply maintaining this commitment can spark curiosity and even encourage other family members to approach prayer in their own time. It's also important not to force anyone to pray. Prayer should be a loving invitation, not an imposed obligation. Instead of demanding participation, a gentler approach may be more effective. I'd love for you to join us, but if you don't want to, that's okay. We're here whenever you feel like joining in. Respecting each person's timing opens the door for change to happen naturally. Another essential point is not to be discouraged by refusals. If someone in the family doesn't want to pray, that doesn't mean prayer should stop. On the contrary, it's an opportunity to persevere and intercede for that person in private. God works in people's hearts in unexpected ways, and a prayer made with love and faith can bring about changes beyond what we can see at the moment. Additionally, making prayer feel lighter and more natural can help. Instead of a formal and rigid moment, the family can start by praying about everyday situations, giving thanks for small blessings or asking for guidance in specific challenges. This can help break down barriers and show that prayer doesn't have to be complicated, but rather a sincere conversation with God. Even when facing difficulties, it's essential to remember that God honors persistent prayer. Even if it seems like nothing is changing, He is working behind the scenes. The Bible teaches us to pray without ceasing, trusting that at the right time, He will touch hearts and transform the family's reality. But how can prayer remain a consistent habit instead of becoming an occasional practice? How can the family stay united in this purpose over time? In the next step, we'll explore how to strengthen this commitment and make prayer an unshakable foundation in the home. As prayer becomes a habit within the family, something powerful begins to happen. Hearts start drawing closer together. The simple act of coming together to talk to God creates an atmosphere of peace, unity, and understanding. Daily tensions often build invisible walls between family members, but prayer has the power to break them down. When a family prays together, they grow stronger, both spiritually and emotionally. Prayer also creates opportunities for forgiveness and reconciliation. In every home, disagreements are bound to happen. Small conflicts can pile up, causing distance between parents, children, and siblings. However, when a family kneels before God, pride is set aside, and hearts become more sensitive to the need to forgive and seek forgiveness. God works powerfully when hearts are open to love and restore relationships. Another transformative effect of prayer is that it strengthens love within the home. Praying for someone is one of the deepest expressions of care and affection. When parents pray for their children and children pray for their parents, a special connection is formed. Worries are shared, dreams are placed before God, and each family member feels valued. This creates an atmosphere of security and protection, something every family needs. Many testimonies show how prayer has completely changed the dynamics of families that once lived in conflict. Homes that were on the verge of falling apart found restoration through God's presence. Parents and children who barely spoke began to listen and understand each other. Husbands and wives facing deep crises rediscovered love and the purpose of being together. God specializes in restoring homes and transforming lives. Additionally, prayer helps families face external challenges with greater resilience. Life will always bring difficulties, but a family that prays is better equipped to handle them. Instead of reacting with despair when problems arise, they learn to trust that God is in control. This doesn't mean struggles won't come, but they will be faced with faith and hope, and that makes all the difference. However, for this transformation to continue, prayer must not be seen only as a remedy for times of crisis, but as a way of life. Keeping family prayer consistent requires commitment and dedication. But how can we ensure that this habit doesn't fade over time? How can we prevent prayer from becoming just an empty ritual, lacking real connection with God? In the next step, we'll explore how to make prayer a lasting commitment and a continuous source of blessings for the entire family. As prayer becomes a part of the family's daily routine, its spiritual benefits start to become evident. One of the first signs of this transformation is the peace that begins to reign in the home. Even in the face of challenges, hearts are no longer ruled by fear or anxiety, because there is a greater confidence that God is in control. Prayer brings this assurance, reminding the family that they are not alone in their battles. Another powerful impact of family prayer is the strengthening of faith. Every time a prayer is answered, even if in an unexpected way, it becomes a living testimony of God's care. Children learn from an early age to trust Him, young people find direction amidst uncertainty, and adults are constantly reminded that God is the source of all provision and wisdom. Additionally, when a family prays together, each person's individual relationship with God also grows. Praying as a family does not replace personal prayer. Rather, it encourages each member to seek God more intimately. Family prayer inspires a greater desire to read the Bible, meditate on His Word, and develop a deeper connection with the Lord. This spiritual growth strengthens the bond within the home. The busyness of daily life often prevents meaningful conversations among family members. However, when they take time to pray together, they also share their struggles, dreams, and concerns. This creates an atmosphere of mutual support, where everyone feels heard, understood, and encouraged by one another. Prayer also teaches essential values such as gratitude and humility. By thanking God for every blessing, hearts become more content and less focused on what is lacking. Recognizing their dependence on God fosters a humble and teachable spirit, which contributes to harmony within the home. Over time, this habit can even influence those who were initially resistant. Those who once refused to participate may start to notice the fruits of prayer and feel moved to join the family in seeking God. The testimony lived out within the home becomes a powerful tool for awakening faith in those who are still distant from God. But how can we ensure that this commitment to prayer remains strong over time? How can we prevent the busyness and challenges of daily life from weakening this vital habit? In the next step, we will explore strategies to maintain consistency in family prayer and make it a solid foundation in our walk with God. Since biblical times, there have been accounts of families experiencing miracles through prayer. One of the most remarkable examples is Cornelius, a man who feared God along with his entire household. His faithfulness in prayer caught the Lord's attention, and he was blessed with the salvation of his family. This shows that when a home seeks God in unity, spiritual doors open, and God moves powerfully. Beyond biblical testimonies, there are countless real-life stories of families witnessing the supernatural in response to their prayers, restored homes, provision arriving at just the right time, unexpected healings, and even impossible situations being resolved. When a family unites in prayer, there are no limits to what God can do. Faith grows, and hope is renewed with every answered prayer. Prayer also brings direction in times of uncertainty. Many families face difficult decisions, whether financial, professional, or emotional crises. Praying together lays these concerns before God, allowing Him to guide every step. Instead of acting in desperation, the family learns to wait on the Lord's answer and trust that He has the best path. Another important aspect of family prayer is divine protection. The world is filled with dangers and challenges, but when a home seeks God's presence daily, He becomes the shield of that house. Many parents testify how praying for their children makes a difference in their lives, guarding them from negative influences and leading them in the right direction. God honors the intercession of a faithful family. Provision is also one of the blessings that come through prayer. How many families facing financial struggles have seen God move unexpectedly? Help arrived in ways no one could have predicted, proving that He is the God who provides. Praying together strengthens trust in divine provision and teaches the family to rely less on circumstances and more on God's faithfulness. However, it's important to remember that God answers in His time and according to His will. Sometimes the answer doesn't come as expected, but it always comes at the right time. Family prayer teaches perseverance, patience, and faith, even when God's silence seems prolonged. He is always at work, even when we cannot see it. But How can we keep this practice alive in our daily lives? How can we prevent routine and life's challenges from discouraging the family and causing them to stop praying? In the next step, we will explore practical ways to strengthen the commitment to family prayer, making it an unshakable pillar in the home. Building the habit of family prayer requires intentionality, but over time it can become a natural and essential part of daily life. Just like meals or other daily activities, setting aside a moment to talk to God strengthens both family and spiritual bonds. Choosing a specific time, such as before breakfast or bedtime, helps establish this practice consistently. The more consistent it is, the more prayer will become an indispensable part of everyday life. One effective way to keep this habit alive is by involving all family members in prayer. Children can give thanks for simple things while parents can intercede for deeper matters. Allowing each person to express their faith in their own way creates a welcoming environment where everyone feels valued and heard. Prayer doesn't need to be long or overly formal. What matters most is that it is genuine and heartfelt. Additionally, making prayer time dynamic can help prevent it from becoming repetitive or mechanical. Switching between different approaches, such as worship songs, reading Bible passages, and even writing down prayer requests and answers, can make these moments more meaningful. Creating a family prayer journal to record testimonies and blessings received helps maintain motivation and serves as a reminder of how God has responded over time. Another common challenge is preventing prayer from becoming just a routine obligation, something done out of habit but without real engagement. To avoid this, it's important to constantly remember the purpose of prayer. It is not just about asking God for things, but also a time for gratitude, fellowship, and spiritual growth. When the family understands this, prayer stops feeling like a duty and becomes a place of refuge. Keeping this commitment won't always be easy, as a busy routine can push prayer to the background. In these moments, it's crucial to persevere and remember that even a short prayer together has power. If the family misses the usual prayer time one day, they can adjust and pray at another moment, but without allowing the habit to be lost. Consistency, even if imperfect, is better than total absence. Another important factor is patience. Some family members might struggle to engage, and forcing or pressuring them can have the opposite effect. The best approach is to lead by example and pray that God touches each heart. Often, the faithful witness of a persistent parent, child, or sibling is what inspires others to become more deeply involved in this commitment to God. But what are the long-term fruits of this habit? How can ongoing prayer impact generations and strengthen a family's faith over the years? In the next topic, we will reflect on the powerful results of family prayer and how it can transform not only a home, but also those around it. If you want to see changes in your home, today is the perfect day to take the first step. Family prayer doesn't have to be complicated or difficult to start. All it takes is a moment of sincerity before God, gathering your loved ones and surrendering everything into His hands. It can be a simple prayer, just thanking Him for the day, asking for wisdom, or seeking direction. The important thing is to take that step and trust that God will act. Prayer has the power to transform a home. When a family seeks God together, the atmosphere changes, hearts become more sensitive, and bonds are strengthened. Conflicts can be resolved with more grace, difficulties can be faced with greater faith, and God's presence begins to be felt in every detail of daily life. What once seemed impossible can become a reality when the family prays together. Maybe not everyone in your home will be willing to pray at first, and that's okay. Remember that change takes time, but your decision to persevere could be the key to touching the hearts of others little by little. Be patient and trust that God is working, even when you don't see immediate progress. The silent example of someone who prays with faith can have a greater impact than words. If today you feel that your family needs more peace, more unity, and more of God's presence, start now. Don't wait for the perfect moment or for everyone to be ready. Gather whoever you can and surrender your home into the Lord's hands. God honors those who seek Him, and His faithfulness will be seen in your home. The changes may not happen overnight, but in time, you will see the fruit of constant prayer. So here's my challenge to you. How about saying your first prayer today? Invite someone from your family, share this idea, and experience what God can do. And if no one wants to join at first, pray alone, but don't give up. God hears every prayer and works in ways we cannot imagine. He is always ready to act when we call upon Him with sincerity. May God greatly bless you and your family. May the Lord bring peace, unity, and strengthen the bonds between you. May every prayer be answered at the right time, according to God's perfect will. If this message spoke to your heart, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss more content like this. And tell me in the comments, do you already have the habit of praying with your family? I'd love to hear about your experience. See you in the next video. May God bless you, and until then,